In the last month and a half, there have been two specific metas that have taken over crypto. That has been privacy and a project called Or Mining. Now, when you look at privacy meta, it is Zcash, and obviously Zcash is proof of work, so it is mining on the ASIC side. And it's more than just Zcash. There are other privacy cryptos that did substantially well also during this privacy meta, and we saw the likes of Or Mining dramatically increase because of its approach to store of value on Solana. Now, imagine you could put both of these ideas together into one project. Well, luckily you don't have to imagine, because we're going to be talking about such a project today. Now, mind you, this is not Zcash, this is not Or Mining, but there's very small parts of both of these metas that are in a project called Night. Now, what we're going to be looking at in today's video, we're going to talk about Midnight, the crypto project, Night, the token itself, and how to mine it. It is currently in what I would consider a pre-mining stage. It is pre-TGE and pre-airdrop, which means you're pretty early. Get that? Either way, if you're new here, my name is Alex. We talk about crypto news, crypto mining, crypto passive income. If you enjoy content like that, consider subscribing. If you enjoyed this video, smash up the like. Without further ado, let's jump into the video. All right, as we dive into this video talking about Midnight and talking about the Night token, we're going to dive into it into essentially three different areas. First, talk about what is Midnight, what is the idea behind the project, what does it do? Talk about the actual mining of the Night tokens, what you need to know to mine it. I'll show you also how to mine it. And then at the very end, I'll talk about how you can optimize your mining experience. So 3 different areas, they will be all chaptered, outlined down below for your ease of use. But let's talk about what is Midnight. Midnight is a privacy-based cryptocurrency project on Cardano. Now, you like it, you don't like it, I'm talking about Cardano specifically. This is just a unique project as a whole. They did already a massive token distribution. 3.5 billion Night tokens already distributed to different Cardano wallets, Bitcoin wallets. I think there was Avalanche wallets. There's a lot of wallets that got a distribution of these tokens. Now, what you have is the mining aspect. And when I mean the mining specifically, it is utilizing your CPU and your web browser to essentially go through certain processes to validate and figure out different tests. And so we'll look at that more specifically in just a minute. But this is the whole idea. It is a privacy-based cryptocurrency project, free multi-phase distribution of Night tokens, aimed at empowering a broad, diverse community to build the future of the Midnight network. This is essentially partly an airdrop, partly also a pre-mine. That is kind of the whole, and then the pre-mine will be distributed in different phases. So as you can see, 3.5 billion Night tokens are already claimed, and then another 626 million Night tokens available to claim by scavenger mine participants. This number is actually now 1 billion. We'll look at that in just a second as a new update. And then Night generates dust, which is a really interesting approach and concept, because oftentimes when it comes to transacting on certain protocols, you have to have the native token in order to transact on it, right? You have to have those gas fees. You need to have ETH in order to transact on ETH. If you need to have BNB to transact on Binance Smart Chain. What's interesting with the likes of Night is it automatically creates what's called dust. Very similar as a very fractional form as what you would consider Satoshis when it comes to the likes of Bitcoin. And so essentially it makes it effectively free to transact without much limitation on the network, which I think is really cool, really unique. Something a bit different when it comes to how it approaches things. There's a lot more that we could talk about as far as what it's doing, its approach to what it and how this is all playing out. But right now, what's most important is the current scavenger mine. That is what is going on right now. This is what I wanted to provide to you as far as the update. So the scavenger mine will run for 21 days. There's about 11 days left. Meaning that approximately 47.6 million tokens are distributed every single day compared to 30 million before. So that number has grown dramatically, and a lot more, as you saw here, 626 million to 1 billion. So a lot more tokens available, a lot more distribution, and a lot more competition. That is exactly what's happened. So it's very important that you stay around to the end of the video where we talk about how you can maximize this depending on how bullish you are on the likes of Knight. Now, a few other kind of golden nuggets. They did raise about $9 million from different investors. Obviously, have the backing of Cardano Foundation and the Cardano ecosystem. There's a lot of excitement about something like Knight and Midnight Protocol in general, considering the current meta of privacy, its use of ZK Snark technology, and everything else that is involved with Midnight as a protocol. Now, the bigger question is, how do you participate? How can you take advantage of this opportunity? And it is very, very simple. All you need is essentially a computer and a web browser, whether you're using Chrome, Firefox, Edge, whatever fits your fancy, it is going to be able to work. Now, there have been tests that some browsers work, slightly better than others. That I have not yet fully tested. Chrome is simple for me, so I've been using Chrome and it's not given me any issues. So that said, this is a opportunity that you can have on multiple devices. So you can have multiple devices running. You can also have multiple browsers on one device running as well. So this is really in your hands. This is as much that you want to get out of it. All depends on how much you want to put into it. If you really want to take advantage of this opportunity, there's plenty of ways to do it, and I'm going to tell you why. So I'm going to tell you how and why. So this is a project, I think, one, you're going to have a lot of appeal because of the early pre-mine, because of the airdrop. There's going to be a lot of people that like this kind of idea and approach. On top of that, it's privacy, and it's kind of proof of work and how the overall solutions that you're solving are put together. And it is CPU focused, so it's not just some random crazy algorithm. There is an actual consumption of your CPU when it comes to this, but it is very minimal, which I want to talk about as far as what are some of the things that you need to understand about this before you get started. There is a massive FAQ page. If you have any questions, they're probably answered, but I'm going to go ahead and answer a few of them for you. It does require your CPU. It does not require any GPU resources. As far as OS versions and browsers, pretty much compatible with most computers and most browsers. What are the specs? Only uses CPU, again, does not use your GPU. They do not influence the results. The faster your CPU, though, the less parallel activities taking place, the faster you should find solutions and increase your Knight allocation, which is very, very important, because if you do this without watching this video, you will do it wrong and you will lose out on a lot of opportunities. So watch the rest of this video. So here's what's very, very important. Can you run multiple scavenger mine sessions on different devices using the same destination address? So for example, you have a wallet address. You can have multiple, or you have a wallet account, right? You can have multiple accounts under that same wallet, right? So for example, and I'm gonna just pull this up here. So this is my Eternal wallet. I think this is the simplest. This is the one I would recommend using, right? So if I click on it, this is my main wallet. It is under one mnemonic phrase, one secret phrase, but I have multiple accounts under that one wallet, right? So you have different addresses for each one of these browsers, right? So for example, you can have one computer running Chrome, Edge, Safari, Firefox, you name it, under different accounts, all under the same wallet. Now, mind you, one wallet is limited to 30 accounts. So I know this is getting a little bit convoluted, but the simplest way to understand it is one browser, one wallet. That is all you need to know, and it can be on the same computer. Now, that said, if you have it on the same computer, they're sharing the CPU workload. So that means if you have 5 browsers on one computer with 5 different wallet addresses, they're all splitting it, so your results may vary. That said, you can also have just one computer, one browser, one wallet address under the same account. For me, how I'm approaching this right now is I have 3 computers. I have one account here for Eternal, and I have 3 different wallet addresses under that same account. Essentially, all I do is when I set this up, as I'll show you how to set it up, I am just, these 2 already have computers already allocated to these wallet addresses. This one, my third one, does not. So I'm going to show you how to set this up, and it's going to be very, very easy. So The other things to understand, I think that's going to be the main thing. There's a lot more information if you want to go through the FAQ page. It is very helpful, but that is the biggest thing to understand is a lot of people, and I've seen this, a lot of people are mining to the same wallet address, the same receiving wallet address across 5 different computers, and all 5 of those computers are competing against each other, and you don't want that. It's very simple to set up new wallet addresses under the same account and split those up. So this is where you're going to go. There's no referral links. This is just simply the website. Very, very simple. So you can see here's the countdown, 11 days, 1 hour. Moving myself over. So you're going to go to this page. I'll leave a link to it down below. You're going to click get started. It already recognizes my Eternal wallet. You can have other wallets as well. Lace, Yorio, Exodus, Typhoon, Vesper, Jero, Nufi. There's a lot of options. Eternal is the simplest. It's got the best looking UI. I think it's very, very simple. So you're going to go ahead and click this. I'm going to click continue. It's going to go ahead and grant access. We're going to continue. And to see this is the destination wallet is set, right? It is unused. It is very important. It should show used if you're already using that same destination wallet address on another device. So this shows us it's unused. We're going to go ahead and click next. You scroll down here. Accept and sign. You put in your spinning password. Loading. And click start session. That's it. That's easy. That is how simple this is. It doesn't take a genius. But that said, it takes a bit of genius to really get an edge when it comes to this. And this is what we're going to talk about in just a second. How can you get an edge against everybody else who's trying to do this as well? Because most people are going to be lazy and they're just going to click this, they're going to walk away, and they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to try to maximize this. So I'm going to teach you how to maximize this. So by the way, you can scroll down on here. You can see miner status is updates every 24 hours. You can see it's solved, unsolved. Right now it is going through one challenge right now. This computer I'm currently recording on has an Intel i9, so it should be pretty good. Some of my other computers, i5s, i3s, nothing too crazy. They're just more for testing different mining protocols in general. And this is going to show you how you're solving and how many you've solved, difficulty, etc. So very, very simple. This is all it takes. You're just going to keep your browser on and session on. Now, for example, if you wanted to change your destination address, let's just say it's linked to another one, you can click disconnect. You can reset the entire session and reset it all back up after creating a new account. So that is the majority of it. Now, to create an Eternal Cardano wallet, all you need to go is to Chrome, the browser store, and you can get that Chrome extension and pin that. Very simple to do. Make sure you save your 24-word mnemonic seed phrase somewhere safe, so that way you don't lose it. And that's it. Now let's talk about how you can maximize this, and that is by doing 2 separate things. Now, let's just say you're not comfortable using your computer resources, for specifically your CPU, mining Midnight and mining the Night token. You can use a VPS, and in many ways, this could be more lucrative. And I say that because maybe you don't have the best CPU. Maybe you don't have the best data sets, even though doesn't require a whole lot. For a very, very low cost, you can get a VPS, virtual private server, and run this through a VPS. Very simple to do. It'd be essentially as if you're doing it directly on your computer. I may have a full video if that is a request that you want to see. You want to see me set this up as a VPS, I'm more than happy to do that. And that way you can kind of see what does it look like running it without using your own resources. Very affordable, but the biggest question is the amount of tokens you get, is it going to be worth more than $5? I think very realistically, if you're doing it right, it should be, but that is something to consider. The other thing you may also think about is the fact that if you use a high-powered CPU, right, especially if you're going to use like 4 or 5 browsers, if you're going to use 5 browsers, when you have a very powerful CPU, splitting it amongst 5 browsers actually may make sense. So something to consider if you're really gun-ho about a project like this, getting a very, very strong CPU with a ton of core, a ton of RAM, and maximizing the amount of browsers, that could be a great way to be able to do it as well. Now, here's the last thing that I want to highlight, and this is really for those that really want to not just dip their toes, they want to dive all the way in. So this individual on X, he, I believe, actually works for Ergo Foundation. Yep, and founding member of Zengate Global, which is I believe, a coding company. So they have about 70 people in their Discord, 660 unique machines connected, total hash of about 10 million hashes per second. So they've created a mining tool, is probably the best way to say it, to fully maximize this to its maximal extent. This is the link here as how to mine. I would say don't do this on a computer that you have personal information on. I wouldn't recommend it because it does download. It's not bad files. It's just going to be recognized as unknown files because this is relatively new. It takes a little bit more complexity. So just be mindful if you're going to approach this route. Don't do it. I think this is completely safe. You can do it on Windows, Linux, Mac OS. But I would just not use this as it's not a very public, full proven, tested, battle tested kind of technology. So be mindful that I will leave a link to this post down below, so that way YouTube doesn't strike the video for crazy content that's a crazy link, because this is taking advantage of the ecosystem and taking advantage of the system, but sometimes that is how you win, and that's how you get an edge. So if you want to go that route, I'll leave a link to it down below so you can go explore it. Either way, hopefully this video was helpful to you. If it was, smash up the like. Enjoy content like this. Consider subscribing. Until next time, guys, stay invested.